Yo, guys, welcome back to Cobra Kai Karate. Welcome back to a brand new Cobra Kai Talk episode. And yeah, I actually just made that intro. I have an intro for my other podcast, but I didn't. I just made this new one, so I hope you guys like that. But we're season 2, episode 6, and we're here with a Cobra Kai creator. This is one that I really like. He's really awesome. Make sure to check out his channel in the description. We're here with Ken Cole. How you doing?
Great, doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Yes. Thank you for coming on. So yeah, you guys know who he is. He has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of cool stuff on there. I know you have a podcast of your own, KenCast, I believe it's called. And then yeah, you also did you made a Cobra Kai fan film, Ken Cole, which we'll talk about. Or not Ken Cole, Cobra Cole.
Cobra Cole.
Sorry, I got this up. But yeah, you have that fan film, and then you have all sorts of great stuff on your channel, and a lot of great Terry Silver videos. He really goes in deep on the Terry Silver character, and I love him. So yeah, we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. We're going to talk about his channel. We're going to talk about Terry Silver, talk about season 5, and all sorts of stuff. So, but yeah, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Like you, I am patiently waiting for more Cobra Kai information to come out about season 5. It's got to be hopefully any day now. But yeah, so rewatching old stuff and getting ready, getting on the hype train for season 5.
Yes, I definitely feel well, I'm not exactly sure. We might get something next week. If we're getting something this week, it's most likely going to be because this is the last week of July. So if we're getting something in July, it's going to most likely be Thursday. So that's like in Tuesday. So we could be getting something soon. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, before we get into all their season 5 stuff, I want to talk about more of you and your stuff. So I'll talk about this. When did you first get into Karate Kid / Cobra Kai? I'm not sure. I mean, did you watch I'm assuming you watched Karate Kid before Cobra Kai. And just tell me like how you really got into all this and everything, how you got into this whole universe of Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
Right. Well, when I was young, gosh, I don't know if I was 8 or something like that. I had a friend who I visited in New Jersey. I lived in the Boston area, and or maybe I was 6. I don't know. I went down there and he was very adamant I had to watch this movie, and it was called The Karate Kid Part 2. And so I tried to watch it. I didn't see the first one, but I tried to watch Karate Kid 2, and it was kind of interesting. And he was trying to tell me like the backstory and everything. And I think I only got halfway through it. I think I was like a little too young because then like a couple years later, I think it was on the Disney Channel or something, the Karate Kid 2, like they were featuring that as a movie. And so, back in those days we had like VCRs, and we taped stuff off of TV and stuff. So, so I taped the Karate Kid 2, and I ended up watching that movie probably like 20, 30 times, probably before I even saw the first Karate Kid. I love the characters in it. Like that was my entire introduction to the world was Karate Kid 2. And, obviously Daniel Miyagi going to Okinawa and, facing off against Chozen and Sato and Kumiko. And so it was really interesting when I went back and saw the first one eventually. I love that too. And so, and that actually inspired me to take martial arts as a kid. And so I did that. And that was just a really great experience. And later on, I saw Karate Kid 3. And so I watched those movies like summer vacations, like probably too many times. Those movies were up there with like, Star Wars, or, I was into Star Trek and Back to the Future and, Ghostbusters, all that kind of stuff. So so those were very important movies to me. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Nice. So since you were a Karate Kid fan, when you heard they're making Cobra Kai, I think they announced it 2017, when you heard they're bringing it back in a television show, it's going to be on YouTube Red, it was originally on. What was your first thoughts of that? Were you more of like, you have high hopes for it, or were you more expecting it to be something different? Because I know, even though I wasn't a longtime fan, I remember I watched the Karate Kid films, and then I remember hearing about Cobra Kai, and I just felt like, all right, this is not going to be too well. I thought it was going to be more of a modern day sequels show. I didn't have too much high hopes for it. So I'm curious, when you heard about this, knowing that you love those films back then, what was your first thoughts when you heard about the Cobra Kai?
Well, okay. So I kind of came from a different perspective because I had been following, rumors and stuff over the years. I saw and actually met him briefly, Ralph Macchio, at a convention in Tulsa where they had shot The Outsiders. And he was basically talking about, at that time, I think it was 2014, that he really wasn't interested in going back to play Daniel again. Like he thought that it was of its time and then that was it. And he didn't expect really to go back. And then that was okay. So I was like, all right, that's what he wants to do. And then also, though, it might have been a few years before that, William Zabka actually directed a music video called Sweep the Leg, by No More Kings, where he and the Cobras and Martin Cove and Ralph Macchio, they were all in it. And I was always a huge fan of William Zabka, and just it was cool to see him direct something like that music video. I mean, with so much passion, and there was so much energy and so much fun to it that when I heard that they were going to do Cobra Kai, I went, wait a second. So Ralph Macchio totally changed his tune now. So this has to be a project that made him go from, nah, we should just leave it in the past, to, yes, I'm going to do a series. And then on top of that, like the focus on Johnny, bringing Johnny back, I knew that William Zabka, as well, being another great creative, if he was heavily involved and he was going to be one of the lead characters, this could be really good. And it just sounded like a very good concept. The only thing I thought was I wasn't sure about at the beginning was they were pitching it as like a comedy, a pure comedy. And so I was worried. I was hoping it wasn't going to be just some pure comedy. I hope it would bring in those sort of dramatic elements, the emotional elements from the original movies. But I was really hopeful. I was super excited, very excited. Couldn't wait.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I thought would fit, because I was like, all right, this is not gonna be good. But one thing that I thought, like, all right, this could work because I know this happened in film. I don't know if you've seen Creed, but like when people are talking about Creed, Rocky fans were like, they lost their mind. But when it came out, it totally just like was crazy. And now like they could do the exact same thing with Karate Kid, of Cobra Kai, and they did outstandingly good. So, but yeah, I mean, if I was a Karate Kid fan back then, I would be really concerned about it. And especially they're pitching as a comedy, I mean, I'd be like, oh no, this is. But they do comedy. I love the comedy in Cobra Kai, but they do give it really really dramatic, good scenes. So yeah, they really balance that well. So. But I want to talk about your channel. So when did you get the idea to start this channel? I mean, was it originally going to be a Karate Kid? Because I know you do a couple like film stuff. And so was it originally going to be about Karate Kid, or just sort of come along like that? Like, tell me about the origin of like your channel.
Well, honestly, it was kind of just a space for me to put up things I was interested in. I really hadn't been planning on getting any kind of notice for it. My background is in filmmaking, and so I had done documentaries. I had the highest profile stuff I'd done revolved around storm chasing, actually chasing tornadoes with Reed Timmer. And I had done a series. I was a showrunner for that, and I had done a PBS documentary called Tornado Glory. That was like my first movie ever, so I had some storm chasing content on there, and some people had followed me for that, and I was just doing some comedy stuff, some kind of funny book reading of misreadings of classic books and stuff like that. Anyway, nothing really crazy. I was just having fun. But then my wife, basically, after Cobra Kai, the first season of Cobra Kai came out, the second in episode 7, when Johnny said Sensei Silver, or when the topic of Terry Silver came up, the fact that they mentioned that made me go, oh my God, he's going to show up at some point. I cannot believe they're going to do this. This is incredible. Like the idea of bringing back Terry Silver, who I just thought was a character in the past. We'd never see him again. And it was funny because I saw Thomas Ian Griffith kind of had the same reaction too. He's like, I didn't think Terry Silver would come back, but I was just so excited. So I kept on. My wife Amber, who I love very much, and I know she loves me because I keep talking about this stuff at her, and I kept on telling her all these theories about how Terry Silver could come back and how it could be amazing. And I would just go on these rants for a half hour or an hour, and it got to the point where the name Terry Silver, when it came up, she just started laughing, and eventually she just said, Ken, just stop talking to me. Just, you make videos, just go make a video and about Terry Silver just to get it out. And so I did that and uploaded it, and it just exploded totally beyond my expectations. And I'm like, wow, we've got fellow Terry fans here. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep making, this is fun. I'll just keep making this content. So that's kind of how I got into it.
Yeah. What was your first video on Terry Silver? Was the Why Terry Silver Rock video? Was it that one?
That was the very first one.
Oh yeah, that video was great. I mean, that was definitely my instruction to your channel as well, because Yeah, when I watched Karate Kid 3, the thing that started, I mean, some will say that film, I mean, I would say it was sort of a bad film, you could say, but I believe it was one of the most entertaining films for me, at least. So,
Right.
one of the things that I loved about it, but not just besides Terry Silver, first off, I love the things with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel, even though
Mm-hmm.
Daniel seems a little too over the top this movie, but I still love that stuff. And of course, Mike Barnes, love Mike Barnes in it. But Terry
Mm-hmm.
Silver, a lot of people looked at him just like an overpop feeling. I looked at him like a little bit more something bigger than that, something a little bit more deeper than that. And I also feel like started to realize that tell either your channel or Cobra Kai season 4, because in Cobra Kai season 4 it really went more deep in that character. But like I think like you really understood like this character. Like yeah, it is really over the top, but like it's still a very important character. So
Right.
yeah, I loved him in Karate Kid 3, and he is my favorite villain in film ever. So
Cool.
so
Yes.
I
Absolutely.
love him. And then yeah, your videos are great on him, and you really go in deep on his characters really well. So yeah, I think we'll talk about Terry Silver a little bit. Then I want to talk about
Sure.
your Cobra Cole in a little bit. But
Sure.
so Terry Silver, here's a question. I know you made a video on it, and I did see your video on it, but this is a question I hear a lot asked in the Cobra Kai community. Since you're here, I guess I might as well ask you:
Sure.
Is Terry Silver a psychopath? Do you think he's a psycho? Do you think he really has sympathy for what he does? What do you think about that?
Right. Well, yes, you're right. I made a video on it because I thought this was an interesting question. Obviously we're talking about a fictional character, so it's not a
Right.
real person. So it's
That's
really
true.
kind of about the writers and what they want to do. However, I think you mentioned that Terry Silver is kind of like this character in like a movie that some people don't call like a really great movie, Karate Kid 3. A lot of people have said that he's just like this over the top crazy villain. Um, but really, I think looking at that character, if you look at him in Karate Kid 3, the one thing that harmonizes everything and would make it grounded in real life is if he's a psychopath, because he fits all of those criteria.
Right.
And so that's, and most of us run into psychopaths at some point in our lives, and I may have known one or two in my life, and he shares, I think, a lot of those traits, and there's something very real about that, like running into someone like that, like an intelligent con artist, someone who just does stuff because he wants to do it, someone who's self-obsessed, like just has a very grandiose sense of themselves, all these criteria that go into a psychopath. He seemed to have that. So um, I think when Cobra Kai season 4 came out, it's very interesting what they did, because they almost gave him, compassion. We saw this sort of compassionate side of Terry. Um, and if you take it at face value, I think maybe he's not as much of a psychopath if he is truly compassionate towards other people. But I think you can still think he's a psychopath, because the key of a psychopath is they're not really being honest with you. They're manipulating everyone around them. They're putting on fronts. They're conning people, and they're so effective because they're able to convince people that they're sincere. And so I think that's another way you can look at the character in season 4. If you go back and look, what if Terry knew exactly what he was doing the entire time? He's a very intelligent person. And so I think even back when John Crease visited Terry Silver in that very first episode, Terry's very smart. He knows John Crease very well. He's been through this before. um, I think you could really make a case that he knows exactly what's going on. From the second he mentions Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence, I think Terry Silver knows exactly everything about the situation with John Kreese and Cobra Kai. And
Mhm.
so looking at it from that angle, um, what is he doing where he's not being honest, where he's actually a psychopath throughout the entire of season 4? And then you get to the end, when he's, committing, attempted murder on Stingray and setting up Crease, like that shows like awareness of society's rules, but just he doesn't care. He's just abusing them to do what he wants. So I think towards the end you're really seeing sort of the psychopath part of Terry Silver come out, and then I assume in season 5, if the writers continue the course, then he'll continue to be a psychopath in season 5.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
a
yeah,
long answer.
yeah, you're good. Following on that, here's another question I hear, which I honestly am. I'm not. I don't say 100% no, but like it's something I do think about. Is Terry Silver possibly redeemable? Because it's just I don't want him to get redeemed, but like I also don't want like the end of the show for him just to like lose and go to jail.
Right.
And I feel like they could just do something a little bit more special with that than just make him lose. So I'm asking, do you think he's redeemable in a way, or do you think at the end of the show that he will just lose and that's it? Like, what's your response on that?
That's a really good question. That's a really interesting question. I think that I wouldn't want him. I think it'd be tough to have him turn around and be like totally good. Like if we're going to call him like a total good guy, I think that would be really
Yeah,
tough. I don't know if that would, make sense. Um,
true.
but I think that I think it could get to the point where Terry, I think, is always going to do what benefits him.
Yes.
So if you get to a point where there's some kind of understanding, or maybe what he wants aligns with what, the good characters would want, there might be some resolution at least where he's not, doing horrible things to say the people we like. And maybe that's kind of a redemption for him. I'm not sure because yeah, I agree with you. He has so many great qualities. Even though he's a villain, me and then so many other people, who are Terry Silver fans, want to see him win, want to see him succeed, even though he's an evil guy,
Yeah.
evil guy. But if he could come to that resolution, maybe if he could come to an understanding with Crease at some point, if he could come to some sort of understanding with Daniel, maybe they unite against a common enemy, briefly. It's sort of like with I don't know if you're familiar with like the X-Men movies, but
Oh yeah.
there was X-Men 2 where X-Men United, I guess, where a Magneto teams up with Professor X and all the other mutants. That's kind of the same thing where they have a similar goal, they have differences, but there's this understanding, and it doesn't mean that Magneto is redeemed. It just means that they were able to sort of work together on something.
Right.
Maybe something like that for Terry someday.
Yeah. I
What do
don't
you
feel
think?
that way. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't want him to get like a full redeem. I feel like John Creese, he could get a redeem, but Terry Silver, I feel like no. Um, but I also do not want the show to end with him just losing and that's it. I feel like they should, but I also don't want him to get redeemed. It's a really, thing. But the creators, I feel like they'll find a way that will make sense and it'll be really satisfying for the end of Cobra Kai. So we'll have to wait and see. I still feel like the show's still far from over. I mean, I say 6 or 7. Maybe we can go into some spin-offs. Who knows? But like they said, the Miyagi verse is far from over. So yeah, one more question on Silver. This is a question that I actually have a little bit, and I want to see your opinion on it. Which I guess it's kind of it's not that big, you could say, but it's a question that I want to ask. Here it is. So, do you think Silver ever really cared for John Kreese as a friend? Because if you look back in Vietnam, here's just a little theory about this. Like you mentioned, he always wants to be in control of the situation. That's like his thing. He wants to be in control of the situation, or else he sort of freaks out. So when he was in Vietnam back in the cage and he was not in control, and then when he saw that John Kreese saved him, now, I feel like Silver is a little bit more not as evil as this, but like maybe he saw John Kreese as like a tool in a way. Like he could use him to get him out of the dark situations. That's a theory, but I don't know because I don't know if Silver ever really cared for John Kreese as a friend or if he just more used him. Because if he did care for John Kreese as a friend, maybe he will have some remorse for what he did. Maybe there is something like that because maybe he will go visit Kreese in jail. So, do you think that there was any friendship there, or do you think the friendship was more just all for him and his benefits? What do you think about that?
That's a great question. I love that question, and honestly, it's one of the reasons that I think a young Terry Silver John Kreese series could be
Yeah,
amazing. Like the entire story, that could be incredible. Um, I think even if you look at you could look at it from the direction of Terry Silver, but you could also look at it from the direction of John Kreese. And I think that that was a friendship that had a lot of, I don't know if you want to call it dysfunctional, probably like, there was a lot of kind of weirdness there about like power plays and who's in control. And, you know, Crease was definitely getting things out of Terry too, and they're, I think in some ways using each other for things. And Crease sure got the benefits from Terry when Terry was rich later. And,
Yeah.
and he was trying to manipulate Terry in season 4 of Cobra Kai because he wanted Terry to come back, and everything. Um, so I would say if there's a friendship, it's definitely not your normal great friendship, not an ideal friendship, I think, that a lot of us would like to have.
Yeah.
But I think that, with Terry, if he's a psychopath, then he's going to be able probably only to be truly friends with someone up to a point. So I think the way Terry probably looks at the universe is a little bit different than the rest of us. I think that for him, John Kreese is a friend, but I don't think he could be devoted to John Kreese or anyone else the same way most other people would. So I think Terry would consider John Kreese to be his friend, and maybe even still, after sending him to prison in his own way, would consider John Kreese to be a friend. It's just he doesn't have the feelings I think that a lot of other people have,
Yeah.
and so he doesn't have that regret about, say, sending him to prison just to do what he wants, to accomplish whatever he wants, manipulating John Kreese. He doesn't feel anything bad about that at all. I don't think he has any bad feelings or regrets. So I would say for him, if you asked him, he'd say, yeah, John Kreese, he's probably one of my best friends. Like he could probably say that, but for us, we'd look at it and go, no, you're not being much of a friend at all. Like I wouldn't trust you to be my friend because I don't know when you do that to me. So I think from Terry's perspective, yes. From everyone else's perspective, not really a good friend.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And oh yeah, and funny that you mentioned the thing about the young John Kreese and young Terry Silver spinoff. I was actually making a video about that,
That's
like right
great.
before doing it, and I'll probably get uploaded the day we're recording this. So yeah, I mean, on to that, I would love to see that. Now, I love the actors who play of them. They've done a very good job, and I really want to see more of their friendship. It will help us understand both the characters more. I also want to see the switch between that John Kreese, Terry Silver we see in the flashbacks, the one we see in Karate Kid. I mean, Terry Silver is a very different character from what we see in there, and so is John Kreese. So I would want to see that. And for a name, I would like the origins of Cobra Kai. It can be like the first time doing it. A lot of cool stuff they could do there. So I would love to see that. But I don't know. I feel like they were going to do that. They would have saved all those flashbacks we got to the show because you would kind of be on a different place. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see for that. But spinoffs, I feel like will definitely happen when the show's over. The free ones I like the most is that one, the Mr. Miyagi prequel spinoff, and then a Chosen spinoff. Which the Chosen spinoff I would want it to be after Karate Kid Part 2, and him with
Right.
Sato, and then him all that stuff. So
That'd be great.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they come up with. But yeah, now I want to talk about your Cobra Kai fan film, COBRA COLE.
Yes.
So first off, check this out. Like the description is outstanding, amazing. So you actually got the actor who plays as Tom Cole in Cobra Kai to be in there with it. So of course you guys share the exact same last name, so that's really fun.
Yep.
And then you even filmed, I believe you filmed one in the opening scene at the real Terry Silver mansion. So a lot of cool stuff. Tell me when you got this idea to make this, how you started making it, and then how you got the actor to come in and all the stuff. And also to end on that, maybe a possible Cobra Cole 2. So yeah. So first question, I kind of put two questions in one. First question, how did you get the idea of this? How did it all get started and all that for your fan film?
Wow. Well, lots of great questions. I started thinking about that. I made that video from that first video, Why Terry Silver Rocks, that you had mentioned before. That was the first one I did. I was sure to bring up that connection between Tom Cole, the character in the series, the car dealer, Daniel's dealership rival, and Willie Cole. And Willie Cole is who Terry Silver mentions as the DA that he bribes in Karate Kid 3. And that always stuck out to me as a kid because, I don't hear the name Cole all the time. That's my last name. And then so when they created a character named Tom Cole, I thought, oh my gosh, this is interesting. Are they going to go this direction? Where Tom Cole is somehow related to Terry Silver. And so I think so that was kind of an interesting jumping off point. And then later on, kind of like I was playing with the idea in subsequent videos, and some people were commenting, saying things like, "Oh, we know, Ken, that you actually work for Terry and stuff," and really great, fun comments. And then so I had this idea, and I'm like, "Well, wait a second. This is a fun idea. Like, why not do it? Why not make it?" So I kind of fleshed out the idea. I wrote a script, and I'm like, if I were to make kind of a short film about this, this could be a lot of fun. Beyond these videos that we do, on YouTube, because I'm a filmmaker. Why not make a short film? So I wrote out this script, and then I was like, I think I'm going to reach out to David Shatra, who plays Tom Cole on Cobra Kai, because if he's willing to do it, that would be amazing. So I reached out to him, and he was very kind, and he wrote back, and he's like, well, I don't know, I'd have to see a script, and I expected that. So I sent him my script, and he read it, and he's like, let's have lunch. And so we talked together about it. He had some amazing thoughts on it, and I'd say over the course of like a month or two, we got to a point where we could schedule the shooting of the movie with David Schrock, who is the amazing cinematographer. He's a great filmmaker as well. Rich Baker helped. Tiffany L played Marissa, and just really it was just a great time. We found the perfect shooting location for Tom, if you want to call him Tom Cole's residence. And so basically we did this short film, this idea, like, what if I am working for the big T, someone like Terry Silver, but I want to get out. What if someone works for him but wants to get out? Because I've been pumping all this propaganda for Terry and Dynatox, and then what if I go to my cousin for help, who just so happens to be Tom Cole, and he might know and be somehow connected with Terry Silver through his family member Willie Cole. So that's kind of like how it got started. But yeah, it was just an amazing experience. It was incredible working with so many talented people on this, and just I'm so happy with how everything turned out. And so many people have said that they consider it to be canon, and I'm very flattered. It's just we definitely tried to really make it so that it could fit within sort of the tone of Cobra Kai, and within, say, the Miyagi verse, if you wanted it to. So that, and there's definitely, and you mentioned another one, there's definitely a whole story after this. You could look at it as its own thing, or you could look at it as kind of like a jumping off point for a whole big story. So there is a whole story in mind for this. I think it's just a matter of, can we make that happen? Is that possible? And I think everyone involved would love to do it. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds.
Yeah, I would love to see a second one of that. The first one was great, and you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. It could actually be canon. I mean, I'm saying, like, I didn't even think about that. I mean, they did mention the last name Cole in Karate Kid 3, and then you got Tom Cole and all this stuff. So who knows? Maybe Tom Cole is working for Silver, and that's been his plan all along. I don't know. We'll have to see, but we'll see. I did love the film though. It was great. So check it out. Check it out in the link in the description. I'll put it right along with his channel. It was great. So, and yeah, so we're gonna go in a couple other stuff, and then we'll wrap up the video. So we're gonna talk about season 5 for a little bit. Before we talk about predictions for the show, I want to talk about promotion for a little bit, because this promotion's been different rather than the others, because it was set September 9th, which is really surprising. I thought we are gonna keep going around that December stuff, but I'm guessing they reached to that because Netflix lost some subscriptions and whatnot. But we got a teaser or date announcement in May 5th, and then we got nothing. And now we're like around a month away, and we still don't have nothing. So I'm curious, what do you think the next step in promotion? Do you think we're just gonna get right to that official trailer? Do you think we're gonna get a promo, pictures, a poster? what do you think the next thing for promotion is, and when do you think it is?
You know, that's a great question. I'm kind of wondering that too. I am a bit surprised by the strategy as far as promotion because, there's so many channels like ours, that talk about this stuff, and even if they let off like little tidbits here and there, I mean, there would be plenty to talk about. But for whatever reason, they're not doing that yet. We've just had that one trailer, so I'm guessing somewhere within a month of the actual premiere, we're gonna get a trailer. We'll get a full second trailer. And who knows, maybe there'll even be a third trailer, but I'm sure that they're going to start doing, articles. They'll hopefully release photos. I'm sure the cast will start doing interviews. The crew will start doing interviews, that type of thing. And I'm thinking it'll be more of a floodgate situation where everything will be kind of dumped at once. You'll have like official posters. I know Netflix is good at, I think, coming up with different ways to tease us. I think that it's just very odd compared to last year, because last year, I mean, they teased us it was releasing at the end of December, and they were teasing us with Terry Silver in June. Oh, I think it was actually late May.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, and we were just talking about season 4 for half the year, it was kind of fun. And in this case, we've got like a month. So I don't know. I assume everything like trailers, all that stuff, articles, video interviews, all that kind of stuff. We're going to see commercials just dumped on us. Maybe starting in early August. That's my guess. I'm not sure. It's an interesting strategy. I hope it works. Like, I hope just maybe everyone just consuming all this promotion all at once makes everyone want to go binge it when it comes out. Of course, I also think there's a possibility that they might split up season 5 into 2 parts, because I noticed that Netflix has been doing that, where they might give us 5 episodes on September 9th and then maybe wait a month or so and give us the last 5. I don't know, but I think Netflix has been doing that a little more lately, because it kind of assures that people will keep subscribing for multiple months. Right. So that's a possibility.
True. And yeah, I mean, John Harrods did tweet that the promotion is going to be like a crazy wild train. So yeah, them going all in August, I do hope it works. And I hear some fans say we don't want too much stuff. I don't want to be spoiled. But the thing is, of course, the big fans like us, it will be there if we don't get nothing. But like just the general fans, like people that would just watch it, but they're not like all like into like every the second thing comes out, they're like all that stuff. Because I even talked to some people, and they didn't even know that the date announcement came out. They didn't even know that we got the trailer. They didn't even know season 5 was coming this September. So, and if it's going to stay like that, season 5 could be not as big as a hit. And I'm really hoping it is going to be a big hit like Stranger Things season 4. So I do hope the promotion does not reveal too much. Like, I hope they don't start releasing too many clips, because I did realize they did release a couple of clips for season 4, which they can do like 1 or 2, but I'm not the big fan when they start releasing too much. But I do hope that the promotion does really pick up in August, and I hope it goes really crazy out on it, and I really hope it works. So
yes,
yeah. And one thing I do want to point out for everybody, because a lot of people are like really upset about this, that we have like a promotion and they go to the creators, Josh and Hayden, which they actually don't get a pick where the release date goes for the promotion. That's all Netflix. So I thought I'd point it out there, because a lot of people think they're the one controlling all this. They just make the show, promotion and release date, all that's up to Netflix. But anyway, so we'll get to a couple other stuff before I wrap it up. But season 5, do you have a prediction or a theory that you either heard or made up, one that you just love the most, one that you want to see the most? What is your season 5 theory that you like just adore the most?
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot of different theories. I mean, obviously, and you made a video recently about Mike Barnes coming back. So I hope we do see Mike Barnes come back. I, of course, would love to see Mike Barnes and Snake and Dennis come back. That would be incredible. I like the idea of Mike Barnes coming back, and a lot of people assume that he would be an ally of Terry Silver, but I think it would be very interesting if he and Terry kind of fell out, and Mike's actually coming for Terry. Like, he's got a score to sell with Terry, or he wants money. I love the idea of you've got Chosen teaming up with Daniel, and you've got Terry Silver bringing in Kim Daeun, and John Kreese is out there, and he's been
Mhm.
wronged by Terry, and you can see this epic battle happening. And I would think that if you throw Mike Barnes into that, that's something that maybe even Terry wouldn't anticipate happening, and that could just completely mess everything up. Their plans for Valley domination, and I'm wondering if Mike Barnes comes back, if maybe Crease isn't the one to get in contact with him. So
Right.
people are assuming that Terry Silver is going to call Mike Barnes back, but I'm wondering if John Kreese, either he's in prison or he gets out of prison or something like that. He's the one that reaches out to Mike Barnes and brings him in to help take
Yeah.
back Cobra Kai. Because I mean, think about it. He wants Cobra Kai back. John Kreese does. I
Yeah.
think Mike Barnes could be, especially if he's been fighting all these years, he could be a very powerful ally, and he'd have a
Yeah.
reason to go after Terry Silver. So that's a theory that I like.
Yes. I mean, we all assume that Silver's going for Mike Barnes when he says, "I'll take up an old friend," which I guess that is the first thing we would guess. But he could be talking about the new sensei Kim Da-eun coming in,
Right.
so it's not just could be Mike Barnes. And I would say the reason he would go to Mike Barnes is maybe him bringing him back. He'd go to Mike Barnes because Daniel and Chosen are trying to go after him, and we know that Daniel was terrified of Mike Barnes. So
Right.
him bringing Mike
Right.
Barnes back would really be like scare Daniel in the way. So, but I really like the idea of Mike Barnes coming back as maybe not like a fully redemption, but just not going with Silver because I mean, Sean Kanan has stated, I'm pretty sure he said on I was either I'm pretty sure it's your interview that he is possibly redeemable, and he is possibly redeemable because I believe after Karate Kid Part 3 that like I'm pretty sure he said as well that he went to the military because if he does go to the military, that's where he can learn honor and discipline, all that stuff. And then when he gets out, I would like him having his own dojo and him having his own students. And then either if Crease goes to him or if Terry Silver goes to him, like my theory I've been saying in my new video, which I'll say it in a more quick way because it's a longer prediction. But Silver goes to Mike Barnes to sort of scare Daniel away, you could say, and then he doesn't want to come back because he does it because he's a changed man. But the reason he does come back is because of the money, because maybe he needs to pay off some bills, or maybe he needs to pay because to continue his dojo going. So he brings his students along there, and maybe he is a bit evil at first. Maybe we do get some cool scenes, but I feel like
Hmm.
Silver will go too far where he will want to get out. But when he does want to get out, I feel like his students will stay of Silver because it'll be sort of like with Johnny and John Kreese, it's sort of a rehash. But I feel like after that happens, that will leave him with nothing, no students, no money, and that's why he goes to John Kreese to get back at Silver or um get back at students, you could say. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think John Kreese would, when he gets out of jail, which I'm not sure how he's going to get out, but I do feel like he'll go out of jail this season, more around the end. I feel like he would probably actually go to Johnny at first because I feel like in jail, that's when he start realizing all the bad stuff he'd done.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's when he's going to start getting his redemption. And I feel like he'll try to go to Johnny because a lot of people think that he went to Cobra Kai up in season 2, and his original plan was to just betray Johnny. I feel like his original plan was to actually team up with Johnny, and that's what he wanted to do. But like John is going down a different route, which he believed in, so that's why he did that. So I feel like he will try to go to Johnny, but Johnny will not trust him. So and then I feel like he'll try to go after Silver. Maybe he can't beat him. Maybe Daniel Choza can't beat him. Maybe they have to team up, which I know is basically season 3 all over again. But I do want to see John Kreese team up with them. And look, Mike Barnes could come back as people are expecting him to come back as karate's bad boy, all evil. But if he is going to come back as a bad guy and he's with Silver, he would. I don't want him to overshow. Like I want Silver to be like the big bad villain. I don't want Mike Barnes to be. I mean, I love Mike Barnes, but I want Silver to be that
Right.
big villain. But I
Mm-hmm.
also don't want Mike Barnes to be a side villain. So I feel he's coming back. Maybe not a redemption. Maybe he does go with John Kreese and he's a bit evil. But I just don't want him to go with Silver. That's the thing. And they can still do it, but I don't know. Mike Barnes actually could not be in this season. I mean, I guess it's still possible. And yeah, I like Mike Barnes season 5. Pretty sure every Cobra Kai fan believes it, but is it too necessary to bring Mike Barnes at the time in Cobra Kai with all the plots happening? maybe season 6, or maybe the end of season 5. Who knows? But we'll have to see about all that. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, the creators, all I can say, they know what they're doing. I trust them. So whatever they do with Mike Barnes, Silver, it's going to be great. So, but
Yes.
yeah, so that'll wrap up this video. Thank you, Ken Nicole, for coming on. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. It was really fun talking to you about all sorts of stuff. And yeah, make sure to check out all his stuff in the link description. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Hey,
Anything else? Anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to say thanks. Thanks, Noah, for bringing me on. It's great talking to you. It's always great to talk about Cobra Kai, Karate Kid stuff. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm enjoying your content too, and I can't wait to see some of your new videos.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to see yours as well. And yeah, make sure to check out his channel, his short film, or not short film. Well, yeah, check out his Cobra Kai fan film in the description. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time. Extreme situations require extreme measures. Peace.